Everything in our life is something that we all learn from Marie Kondo. Is
Yeah.
that if it doesn't spark joy, just throw it out of your life.
So I've always felt that way. But over the last few years, I've realized guilt is a pointless emotion.
And he's like, you've been lied to because 36 is when you're starting.
मैं मेरा privilege लेके, I'm not like harming anyone.
And now you have like your entire life left for you to basically figure out, what you want to do with it.
I'm very Saturn heavy in astrology. And I saw Disney Plus Star was offering a writer's training program.
पर लाइफ में खुद की कैरेक्टर आर्क कंप्लीट करने में पता नहीं कितने जन्म लग जाते हैं. I mean, maybe it's like 7 births, like they say.
So definitely now everything I do is very much through a sense of play.
Yes, nice. Hello and welcome to another episode of One Story with Akta Pamar. Today I have Ananya Modi with me. Now her resume is just like incredible because from CA she went on to becoming a screenwriter and wrote for shows, very, very hit shows like Rana Naidu season 1 and 2. And also she was in the writing team of Grahan and Inside Edge season 3. That's incredible by itself, but she didn't stop there. She went ahead and she has now launched her, she's now a traveler, so to say, right? Can I say that? Or eternal traveler or something like that? Is there a job description?
Sounds like I do nothing and spend Papa's money. One of those things is true,
No.
but you're wondering about which one.
No, but I think that is everybody's dream. She's just launched her entrepreneurial venture, which is called The Belonging Way, where she is going to coach misfits into, settling down and finding their rhythm in life in new cities. In
For
new
sure,
spaces.
yeah. Finding their people and place to call home, essentially.
And also, it's very interesting. You're using astrology, travel coaching, and
Storytelling.
Storytelling.
The one thing I actually know.
She knows a lot. She knows a lot, and we're going to find out. And let's hear Ananya's one story today. I'm very excited, Ananya, because I think you're going to take us around the world, and that is something that I love. So let's begin with this very beautiful coconut water that I have prepared. I have done nothing
Okay, I
actually.
like it.
Yes, let's do a cheers to that. So Ananya, I am very excited to hear what your one story is, and please, over to you, all yours.
Okay, my one story. As you introduced me very well and said she'll be taking you around the world. But filmmaking exists in a spectrum, right? So to take you around the world, I need to begin in Lower Parel.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Fair. I'm guessing it's heading towards the corporate world.
I mean, could be time traveling into mills back in the 1800s. You don't know
that
where
would
I'm
actually be
going.
better or worse. I don't know. I don't know.
But yes, as predictable as it might be, we do begin in corporate. It was many, many years ago in 2015. I was working as an auditor in one of the audit firms. And बिल्कुल मज़ा नहीं आ रहा था. मतलब, I was on my CA journey. But you do what has to be done, right? You're
Yeah.
like, सब ये करते हैं, मुझे भी ये करना है. And बोलने में अच्छा लगता है. Oh, I work at XYZ. And look, I'm so fancy. Look, I have this corporate dog tag.
Are you taking names? Where were you working?
Should we?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a free country last I
it's a
checked.
free country, but I'm not going to say nice things about them. So, मतलब थोड़ा avoid कर लेते
Top
हैं.
4? Top 5?
They called the big four, so one of them में से
We know what it
सोचे ना,
is. Yeah.
मतलब ज्यादा कुछ पंचायत है तो मतलब मेरा LinkedIn चेक कर लेना, सब मिल जाएगा.
Okay.
So yeah, I wasn't having fun, and I was 19. So 19, what do you do at 19? Like you party, right?
You also dream that you probably earn more money and you'll travel the world and I don't know,
All of that.
meet the love of your life.
Yeah, for me it was just like, Arey, I'm making my own money now for the first time. Like,
Yeah.
let's go out, let's have fun, let's do everything. But if you've grown up with the parents I've grown up with, you don't really have a choice when it comes to academic excellence. Like, or they will be breathing fire down your neck. So I was like, theek hai, matlab. So I was working hard and partying hard. And I was successful at everything. Okay. But my team who I was working with, उनको अच्छा नहीं लगता था कि मतलब ये हर वीकेंड बाहर जाती है, ये पीती है, वो सब. And my parents had no problem as long as I was doing well. But they didn't like me too much because of that. But कुछ बोल भी नहीं सकते थे, काम सब हो जाता था, अच्छा हो जाता था. But as I did this work day in and day out, it's like, मैं कर क्यों रही हूँ? Like, I'm not enjoying this. I remember, in fact, there was a very specific moment when I was sitting with my dad at the dinner table. And I was like, I've been struggling with this for days, but aaj finally samajh mein aaya. How do I reconcile income tax depreciation and book depreciation? And I said it with such joy. And my dad looked at me and went all, so? I was like,
Is he also
right.
in a similar profession?
No. He's in cybersecurity. He's doing something completely different. And I was like, yeah, so? I'm like, मैंने क्या उखाड़ लिया जिंदगी में by doing this? And every like Sunday evening, like the Monday blues would set in. I'm like, no, this is not doable anymore. And for the taskmasters that my parents are, they're also softies. So when they say that I'm struggling and I'm giving it my everything, but ho nahi raha hai, they looked at me and went like, just leave. What are you doing? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave. Fine. So I put in my papers at Deloitte. And my manager asked me, he's like, तुम क्या करोगी अभी? And I was like, look, I like writing. And अभी ये CA सब पढ़ाई हो रही है. Can mix the two things and I can be a financial journalist. And he was like, financial journalist? यहाँ तुमसे AC में बैठा नहीं जा रहा है काम करने के लिए. तुम वहाँ फील्ड पे जाओगी, गर्मी में काम करोगी. It's like your parents, they have dreams for you. वैसे तो तुम्हारी शादी हो जाती, but you're going to make your parents so unhappy. And I'm just there going on, मैंने बस resign किया भाई. Like, why
He
are
took
you?
it very personally.
Very personally. Because he'd been working there for some 10 odd years. His wife had been working there. So by resigning, I realize now, essentially what I was doing is saying, I don't want the life you want. And which is perfectly fine, right? Like, he doesn't want the life I have.
Yeah.
So why are you getting so offended? But in his head, he had peaked. So it's like, you don't want to peak like I peaked? I'm like, that's not a peak, buddy. That's like a valley, the very bottom of the valley for me. And I remember going for lunch after this, and I sat with a fellow peer. And she's like, bro, what was wrong with your manager? And I was like, what? And she's like, the whole 33rd floor heard what he was saying, that he was yelling at you.
Wow.
Okay. And then I was like, stressed. At the grand old age of 19, I was very stressed. I was like, I have left. Abhi job वापस कौन देगा? मतलब सब मेरे दोस्त Big Four में हैं. Everyone has this finance career going. And I'm like, I'm done. मेरा हो गया. Back then I wanted to work in education consulting and change the education policy and all of that. And I thought I'd work at McKinsey later and gain all that consulting experience. And I'm like, I will never get a job again. I'm unhireable. And I was panicking. I remember I was once passing the HDFC building in a car somewhere, and I'm like, oh, HDFC was part of our audit roster, and my team must be sitting in this building. My mom is like, why are you thinking about that? And then I realized, because all my friends are still doing this, I've quit the job, but I'm still in that world, of finance, and now I'm like zero. I'm not achieving anything. I'm like, यहाँ से निकलना पड़ेगा for some time. I couldn't articulate that thought, but your body tells you, okay, it goes into fight or flight essentially. And flight, literal, and cortisol induced are both like my specialties. So I was like, abhi saste mein kaise like travel karu? So I was Googling, and I came across this organization called Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. Woof.
Oh, yeah. I also did come across them. Never
Right.
used it, but...
Highly encourage it.
I'm wondering if I'm too old for that, but...
No, not at all. Never.
But I love the couch you see now. It's just like, I'm too lazy. Actually, I'm not old. I'm just very, very lazy.
You've just not found a thing for which you will not be lazy.
Well, I think it would be living with sheep or rearing sheep in Scotland. That was the dream.
Yeah.
And still could be.
Could be.
But I don't know about the weather. I mean, I'm Barely managing in Bombay as well.
Toddler sheep.
But yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So back to Woof.
Woof. Yeah. So first to the acronym only. I'm like, woof. Oh, so cute. Yeah. And essentially what you do is you put in like 4 to 6 hours of work on like a farm or a homestead or something in a day. And they give you accommodation and food. Like, yeah, sounds like a good deal. So I was like, what to do now? Where to go? Like, they have woof everywhere. I'm like, ठीक है, US का visa है. And I'd been to California once. I'm like, I liked San Francisco, तो San Francisco के आजू बाजू कुछ ढूंढते हैं. तो I found a farm जिसका प्रोफाइल अच्छा लगा. They grew blueberries. I love blueberries. इंडिया में बहुत महंगी थी तभी, अभी भी है. And I'm like, ठीक है, बहुत खाने को मिलेगा. Why not? So I wrote to that lady. She had a nice questionnaire वो fill करके भेज दिया. And then she writes back saying, you seem cool, come live with me. I'm like, validation, of course, I will come. So I told my parents ki this is happening. They looked at me like, okay, you've spoken to her? I'm like, yeah. You're sure about this? Yeah. Okay, go. It's like, okay, cool. So I went. But it was great. Like, I was working on this farm where there were like acres of blueberries being grown, and there were horses and chicken, and you learn so much. Like, I learned that chickens have big personalities, apparently.
No wonder all those reels on Instagram. I mean, I love them. The chicken. Haven't you seen them? Chicken dancing like this.
Oh,
amazing.
okay.
If I see that first thing in the morning, my day is made. So I can imagine that was what you were seeing.
Yeah,
when you went there.
literally. Yeah. So we had to open up their coops, and they would like come out in the morning, and they have names for each other, apparently, all chickens, like within their.
Each other.
Yeah, they name each other. That's what I remember. Like,
As in, like the chicken name each other.
yeah, like within their like life and language and stuff.
Oh.
Apparently, chickens name each other.
So can you do chicken talk now?
No,
You didn't learn.
No, they didn't teach me. So,
Okay, but okay. Interesting fact that chicken name each other and they talk to each other.
yeah, they gave us names also, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're bad words.
Why do you think poorly of chicken?
Don't think poorly of them. I think they're just like nosy little creatures who are like quite noisy also actually.
Yeah.
No? But was it fun living with these farm animals and chickens or was it like a
Well,
shock for you from lower parades, corporate spaces to like an open farm in
I know.
California?
How will you survive in the field? I'm like, bro, मैं literally field पे आ गई.
I know, right? You really took it to heart.
Yeah.
he took it personally and you took it to heart.
Twice as personally, yeah. So what? Let's say I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and it's good because your hands are moving, and you're around people. So there's chatter going on, and you're working. So your dimag doesn't overthink. At least during those 4 hours in the field. But after that, I would still go into this space of, "Arey, this is just escapism. What am I doing? You know, why am I here?" And that mental chatter would go on. And around me were all sorts of like cool people. You know, like I was the only real finance person that. One of them was this British girl who was going to Utah to study body dysmorphia in Mormon women after giving birth.
Wow.
Yeah.
How
And
do you even get that specific in life?
I mean, I guess she was doing sociology, anthropology. So wo padh ke, she must have gone down some rabbit holes.
Yeah. For me, it's like, Atta, what do you want to do? I want to write for the screen. That's it. Okay, what do you want to write? I'll write anything. That's not true. Actually, I know my genres, but
Yeah.
but that's pretty specific.
Yeah,
Okay.
very.
Did you feel intimidated while you were there around these people?
So, at first, I was intimidated by one particular girl. She was Danish. And, you know, like the Scandies, tall, you know, built
Well
like
built.
Vikings. And I'm like, I want to like be you, right? They just carry themselves with this effortlessness.
Yeah.
And they're closed off as a culture initially. So I was like, what do I do? So we were staying in tents on the farm. And I had a box of Kaju Katlis with me because who travels without them?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Indians, yes.
Exactly. So I knocked on her farm door, tent door thingy, and I was just like, hi, do you want to try some of this from home that I brought? And I think she was so caught off guard because she wasn't expecting someone to come and actually like give her khana.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, sure. But she didn't invite me into her tent. That's her private space. And she's like, come, let's sit. So we sat out by the lake and we shared like a box of Kaju Katlis. And by the end of that conversation, we were friends. So I wasn't intimidated after that point. What was just scaring me was the idea of going back home and going back to my world. And, because these thoughts are so overpowering, I ended up talking about them once I was comfortable with these people. And there were these two Norwegian sisters on the farm. They were road tripping to like reconnect and stuff, and they were much older. And one afternoon, they were all like playing around, and they were like, they found a little tricycle, and one of them was sitting on the tricycle. And I let out like my internal monologue to them. I'm not going to make it anywhere. No one's going to give me a job. I'm screwed. And she looked at me, this tall blonde woman seated on a little tricycle, this California sun beating down on her, tractor in the background, green fields, a lake by the side.
So cinematic.
Right. And she said, but you're so young. And I was like, oh. Like, I am complaining about my life, which I have seen so little of, to this woman who is, I think, a geriatric nurse. So, who has seen life at its worst.
Yeah.
Sitting down there on a tricycle, not a care in the world. And the perspective it gave me. That, right, I am so young, like, dunya dekhi bhi nahi hai abhi tak. And just that sense of there is possibility, there is hope. And then I could look at all what other people were doing and be like, wait, I can do this too, and I can do that too. And just being on that farm around different people and around people who, of course, came from the privilege of being able to explore their life in different ways, like governmental, structural, societal privilege. I was like, there are a million ways to live life. And I'm so young, which means I have the time to explore all of this. And that has stayed with me since.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what that reminds me of is a very recent reel that I saw. I think VaynerMedia's CEO, Gary, if I'm not taking his name incorrectly, or I don't remember it incorrectly. He said this in one of his, I think, podcasts. That we've been lied to in a sense that at 36, you think your life is over and like you've completed your graduation, probably even post-graduation, and you have a family probably and all of that, and you're like, suddenly that's when I guess midlife crisis hits people most. And he's like, you've been lied to because 36 is when you're starting, because you've got your basics, you've done your education, you've done whatever other stuff you wanted to do in life, and now you have like your entire life left for you to basically figure out, what you want to do with it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a child. I got it wrong all along, And that's, I think, a very beautiful story from your personal life. Your one story is incredible in the sense that, just looking at somebody else who'd gone through a very different experience than you. And of course, you at 19, looking at yourself, and I probably think you thought that you're old, right? You must have thought life is over. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go back to? Where do I belong? Because that's what we're thinking at that age. And I think subsequently every decade has its own challenges.
Sure.
But I think turning 20 is heavy on a lot of people's minds. So is turning 30, turning 40. I think it's just the way we look at these decades probably. And I think that story is really going to stay with me too, because it's so cinematic. It's beautiful. I want to be on that farm, and I think I was. For a split second, I was right there. And to get this perspective and to keep reminding yourself that, I am young. And how did it make you feel? Like, does it still come back to you in a way and you're like, okay, I'm still young, I can do whatever?
All the time.
Yeah?
All the time. I think, and I'm going to digress a little bit here, but I'm very Saturn heavy in astrology, which essentially makes you an adult child. So, I mean, or a child adult. Like when you're young, you have old soul energy, essentially. And as you grow up, because you've been so responsible throughout, you learn to start taking things
Nice, yeah.
chill. Yeah. So definitely now everything I do is very much through a sense of play.
Hmm.
And matlab stress hoti hai, we're all human.
Yeah.
But it's like, how can I have fun doing this? How can I go back to being a child? Like, how can I bring joy into the process? So I think You're So Young is something I carry with me every day. And I know I sound like one of those quotes on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
those help.
yeah. And they're
I
real.
mean, cliches work, right?
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite is "This too shall pass," and I just like whether I'm sad, whether I'm happy, whatever it is. I just remember this. My sister, told me this when I was younger, and I'm sure she read it somewhere or whatever. But I think it kind of just puts life into perspective. That whatever I'm feeling right now, if it's overwhelming me, if it's incredibly satisfying, also it is going to pass, and something
Yeah.
else will take its place, right? So cliches work, and why not? I mean, they're there for a reason, right? So that's absolutely incredible. But do you also feel like what does it mean to be young for you? Like, does it mean what you're talking about, the play aspect, the fact that you want to keep that side of you alive and not the rationalizing and constantly introspecting, reflective side alone? What does it mean to be young? Like, I'm young. Okay, what does that mean? If it's not an age, and if you're not bound by like and at 80, if I tell myself I'm young,
Yeah.
what does that mean for you?
It means that growth is still possible at that point. It means that you see life ahead of you. It's not like you look at everything and be like, अच्छा अभी तो इतने ही साल बचे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं? It's like there's possibility, and with possibility you can play, you can have fun. It's endless, and I've realized more and more that that's the space where magic happens. Like, I'm sure as a writer, when you write,
Yeah.
it's when you hit flow state, right? And what is flow state? Flow state is when you're good at something, when there's a right amount of challenge, and you're having fun being good and solving that challenge, right?
Yeah.
And writing brings us flow state. I was learning how to roller skate, that brought me flow state. I meditate, that also brings you flow state, though it takes more time.
Yeah.
And being a child means going into that. जब भी मतलब पकड़ा पकड़ी खेलते थे as children, like you're not thinking, you're just focused on I'm enjoying running.
Exactly.
To catch them, that's the challenge, and I'm enjoying this challenge. And like, how can I do this? How can I do that? Like that's the
Yeah.
feeling I want to embody every single day.
That's beautiful. And I just realized that for the past couple of weeks specifically, I've also been trying to just, so my nieces and nephews, all of them, I look at them and I'm like, there's so much to learn from children, right?
Yeah.
And they say, just to be creative, you have to be like a child. And I recently went to I went for a haircut, and I was showing my stylist, I was like, you know what, I have to show you something. And she's like, what happened? And I'm like, look, there's a stash of white hair, and silver is coming, it's finally happening. And I've been going to her for a very long time,
Yeah.
for almost 1.5 decades. And she was just like, she looked at me like this, and I was like, I'm so excited, because I always told her, like, when I asked her if, should I color my hair? And she said, you should go for a brown, you should go for this. And I was like, what if I go for silver? She's like, you know what, just wait for that. It'll happen one day.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited and happy. And I feel like a lot of people look at the grays as, of course, it's part of the aging process, and it's part of like, okay, you've reached a certain age. And for some people, it's also happening a little earlier. You're also
Yeah.
losing hair, and all of it, the idea that it doesn't excite us, but it actually scares us, is something that society has put in us, right? That this is the standard of what it should be. And when you look at your own self, and like with you actually figure out what really gives you joy, and what really gives, puts you in that flow state. That's such a beautiful place to be in, right? And that could be anything. And the moment you break that, I guess, which is what you have done, and you did it at a very young age probably. And then, of course, there must have been challenges, and there must have been a lot of times where you were tested, and you had to remember that you are young, again and again and again. But the fact that you have such a beautiful one story to fall back on is, I think, is so beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me and listening to me. I like to yap.
So, Ananya, the one story that you've shared, while it is incredible, it also is kind of giving me this, these thoughts are coming for me that you have to be incredibly privileged, I guess, in a way, to actually be able to do something like this, right? from the fact that your family, from the fact that the support from your family, from the fact that you left your job and probably your CA career, you don't know what you're going to do next, you don't know where you're going to go next. And back then, probably you hadn't thought that you're going to be living in Mexico like you're doing right now. Do you think, did you ever think about that privilege? Did you ever think about, were you always aware of it, that I can do this and I'm enabled by, family, society, whatever, and these questions will not be asked? Or was it something that you realized a little bit later? Because I think, it is a huge privilege, right? And does that weigh upon you also sometimes? So multiple questions, but wherever you want to begin on that.
Oh, for the longest time, I had like a lot of privilege guilt. Like, I've always acknowledged my privilege, and I felt like, what have I done to deserve it? I've not earned any of this, So all of this was very, Arey, chal kya raha? Like, what are you doing, Ananya, with your life? Like, how can you go work on the farm? You're supposed to be working at a Big Four. You're supposed to be making money, because you can't just utilize all this privilege that you have. So if you live with my parents, they will let you know that you are very privileged. Other people don't have this support system. You should be very grateful. Look at the education you got, I'm very well aware. And I was made to feel a sufficient amount of guilt for it too.
Okay.
So even when I was at the farm, the reason I was having all those cyclical thoughts of anxiety and all, were also because I'm like, why are you here? You haven't earned anything in your life. Whatever you have earned in the last 6 months at that job, you have put into like paying for a flight ticket and you're spending over here. Why? Who do you think you are to like deserve this? So I've always felt that way. But over the last few years, I've realized guilt is a pointless emotion. What do you do about it? Like, my privilege leke, I'm not like harming anyone. I'm not using it to like brandish my power over someone. So I'm like, enjoy it. It's for me. And I'm very cognizant of it, but I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I'm like, I'm not even going to say, I'm sorry I have privilege. I have privilege. It's fine.
And I guess we can't really choose where we are born, right?
Not at
So
all.
the fact that what you make of the life, I think that's very sensible of you to, But before that, was there a time where you kind of, did that weigh heavy on you, or in the journey after also? Is that something that you're like, okay, my parents did this for me, and I'm supposed to like give them back in ways that, apart from just studying CA, and which is itself by itself is incredible, because it's really tough to crack, and how many people even do it, right? Did that ever like kind of create challenges along the journey?
No, my parents have never made me feel like I need to give back to them. No, they're never like, you have to take care of us or we've done so much for you. No, they've made me do things, but they're for myself in the name of like doing it for my own good. But they've never said that you have to do this so that later you can take care of us. ऐसा कोई pressure नहीं है, वो type का guilt नहीं आया life में. So, I have very independent, self-sufficient parents who want me to be the same way, independent and self-sufficient.
Yeah. And so then what happened after this farm? Where did you head back? Did you come back? Did you go back to the Big Four and say, hey, ran out of money, need more money? Or no? Okay. And then what did you do? And how did the rest of the journey happen?
So I finished CA, and then I was like, what to do now?
So you came back and finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
I finished CA, came back.
So that what
CA.
you were working as the corporate was your articleship, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I came back, I finished it, I finished articleship at a smaller firm.
And in how many months, did you come back?
2 months. I spent a summer there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I was like, CA, I passed, and that, abhi kya karna hai? And I was actually thinking of being a financial journalist. It wasn't wrong. So I had bought the entrance exam books and all of that. And
There's an exam to be a financial journalist.
to certain colleges, I think. The one in Chennai and a few, they have entrance exams because they are financial journalism specialisms. So, and I was like, the unis here are good enough. Like, why not? And I was sitting on my couch one day and I torn something in my leg, and as it goes, I was doom scrolling LinkedIn as one does. And I saw Disney Plus Star was offering a writer's training program. And they had a long application, gave all. I'm like, chalo, let's apply. Who knows? It'll happen. So I applied, and a few days later, I got a phone call, like this LA number flashing on my phone. I was like, what is this? And a friend had just moved to LA. I'm like, it's a weird time for her to call me, but whatever, I'll answer. And it was the guy who was running the program. He was like, hi, I'm David. I'm calling from Star, and I just want to tell you that I've read your application. So, have you written before? I was like, no. He's like, oh, this was really good. How old are you? Like, 21. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I can't say much more, but keep an eye on your email. It's like, okay, cool. And then a few months later, that email came in, and I'd gotten to the next round, and then the round after that, and then I made it to the program. And it was 6 months of training, followed by a 2-year like bonded labor contract. I don't know if it's okay to say that. I don't work in film anymore. Y'all can cancel me. So, to like work with them. And if you didn't want to work with them, I don't know if I've signed NDAs for any of this, but
I'm sure you have. We've all signed only NDAs.
NDAs,
in life,
yeah, yeah.
right?
And I'm like, you really think anyone wants this information about you? You know, like तुम क्या छुपा रहे हो? तुमने मतलब atomic bomb के codes बना के रखे. Like, I don't know.
We're all
Anyway.
doomed.
Yeah, we're all doomed.
That's the truth.
So you had to pay like 12 lakhs if you wanted to get out of the program.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was
And
literally
did
like
you get paid to be in the
yeah,
program?
you got paid. They paid us decently for whatever it was. Actually, it was I think one of the highest and most consistent pays in my 7 years of screenwriting in the industry. Don't do this, kids. Don't join film. So
This is the PSA I give in every single episode.
So 6 months in, like I was doing that program, and they were enjoying it. You know, it was sort of Hunger Games for them. Okay, they would say that at the 3-month mark they eliminated 3 people. You're not good enough. 6-month mark they eliminated 3 more people. I was one of them.
Should have televised this, no? It would have been so fun to just see like what game format is this? Like
Yeah.
I don't know, those island games. I don't watch any
Exactly.
of them, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a bunch of writers, frustrated writers, are not getting to. Totally, this should be a show.
And in fact, the guy who was teaching us, ek to they employed a white guy who'd seen half of Hindi film in his life. I'm like, why is he teaching us?
Because they wanted more Hollywood-centric content, I guess.
For Star Plus Star Bharat.
Yeah.
Yes.
To give the Saas Bahu shows competition, I guess.
Yeah. We were literally writing for like Plus and Bharat for GEC.
Huh.
So it was very much within the milieu of Hindi heartland. It
Okay.
wasn't like they were trying to make some
Okay,
you
fun.
know, house
This
of
guy's
cards.
job would, I think he would be the one visiting all the pubs, bars, and like, crying over his job.
Yeah. And oh god, don't know if I should be saying this, but I will. And he was also a Scientologist, and he would use Scientology in our curriculum to teach us like human emotions and stuff.
But that's so cool. I mean, you're so like well aware and read in so many different random spheres of information.
Random spheres. He in fact like brought us Ron Hubbard's like book self-analysis, and he wanted to do self-analysis sessions. I think this was just after I got fired, but I heard that HR had to step in and be like, bro, Scientology is a religion, like we can't allow this within our organization.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some real cool dope that I'm getting to hear right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but 6 months into that program, they fired me. They're like, "Tum jao."
Oh, but they could fire you.
They could fire me.
They could
I
fire
couldn't
you.
leave.
Couldn't leave.
Yeah, it was a
And they were
normal-
paying you.
Yeah,
And it was a 2-year,
2.5. Yeah, 6 plus 2.
and you were in a writer's room.
Yeah, we were in a mock writers room initially because it was training and stuff.
Okay.
So they fired me, and it was interesting being fired for a white guy because I wasn't able to write like Hindi heartland stories.
Okay.
So, but you know, life we understand colonization more than anyone else.
So interesting. But यहाँ से लहू मुँह लग गया. Essentially screenwriting अच्छी लगने लगी. नहीं.
I mean, I always wrote as a kid, so writing हमेशा अच्छी लगती थी. And now that I was in this world, I'm like, अभी point proof करके ही जाना है.
Okay.
So once I left, I took a month and a half off. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I used to bake every day. I used to call it fun employment with Ananya.
Was there like a series somewhere?
On my Instagram stories.
Fun.
Should have saved them.
Oh, you didn't save them.
No, I don't think so. I don't document my life.
Incredible. Okay.
It's a problem now, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then I had a friend who was working on season 2 of Inside Edge.
Okay.
They were shooting it at that point. And he told me that season 3 pe they're looking for an intern for the writer's room. So would you like to give it a shot? I'm like, hi, anyway, I've been fired. Like, how much lower can I go? So I sent in a writing sample and they called me in for a meeting. And what are film industry meetings? They talk to you to suss out your vibe, right? How can they? No one knows whether you can actually write. Like I sent in a
Yeah.
writing sample and
Yeah.
it was assistant writer, so I didn't even have to write. So they're just like, will she be down for the job? And I don't know how talking to me helps you understand. Like you should put me under some stress test, like take notes, 80 words like a minute, whatever that typing rate is. But they like
You know,
to-
but I always wonder, like, how do you even assess if someone can write something, right? Because half of the things that I submit are like literally an hour before I'm supposed to submit them because there's so much pressure as an engineer, as an ex-engineer. That's how we studied. I mean,
Right.
the last week was literally the time I opened the books and then I was teaching everybody. I was like, ye yaad kar lo, ye yaad kar lo. I have no clue how I did that, right? But it became a habit. And I'm like, what if in that nth hour, you're not going to be able to crack that scene or crack the end or whatever. And I'm always like wondering, but one producer said this very interesting thing.
Yeah.
Ashish sir, who I worked and I wrote a show with him. He said that I didn't hire all the 3 writers for their talent because pretty much everybody who I reach out to or who's in the writing business or in screenwriting is talented. Obviously, that's why they're doing it. They know what they're doing. In different grades or levels or whatever. And then he said, I'm also not looking for an experience because it's fine. You may not have written this genre, which was comedy, and I had not written comedy before. But he said, I was looking for vibe. And I was like, if I have to live with these people and meet them every other day, or like every other day there's a narration,
Yeah.
and if I have to meet them, am I excited to meet them?
Exactly.
And I was like,
Yeah.
you got us for a vibe. I was like slightly hurt also, but also it was, in hindsight, it makes sense because the team ended up forming in a way that we all like to be with each. So it's not like we're, at the joint at the hip or anything.
Yeah.
But it's nice because we end up, whenever we meet, it's like we make plans for, lunches or dinners outside or let's catch up and and when we meet, it's mostly not even conversation about films. It's about what we have done in life or, some travel story or whatever.
Yeah.
And I realized that is such a wise thing to do that, it's not for just the work. Obviously, they saw the samples and they saw everything.
Yeah.
But then he was like, my final decision was based on the vibe.
For sure.
And the vibe of, I need to meet these people. And am I okay doing that? And I was like, that's actually a fair thing. But that's what you were actually trying to say.
Yeah.
That it's more of a vibe
thing.
check. But
sure.
it's a weird vibe check in some places.
Yeah. I'm like, my first conversation with
Opening
you.
a can of worms.
No, this is just very general. But my first conversation with you, I'm not going to be myself. Right?
Also fair.
So, I mean, maybe now I will be. But when I was 22 years old and I'm dealing with these, I'm sitting in Excel Entertainment ka office, okay? I'm there. You think I'm going to be this person? Like,
But then when are we ever ourselves? No? Then the question is like, we're always putting up plays and masks and
sure.
I'm not right now. I'm 100%.
But there's a percentage, right? And I think the percentage of you in something keeps increasing with time as you have fewer
Sure.
fucks to give, right?
Yeah.
And at 22, you have all the fucks in the world to give. Like, everyone's opinion of you matters.
Yeah. At 40 also, you have a lot of things to do. All ages, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got that writing gig. And honestly, being in the writer's room as an assistant was one of the best experiences of my life. Because I got to see how people's minds work, how they think about things, and how they interact with each other. And also because I was taking notes all the time and committing everything to writing and by default to memory, I was very sharp. So I knew, acha, we made this story decision because of this. Don't go there because of this. Don't go here because of this. And Karan, the showrunner, saw that. Like, I was very quiet. I didn't speak much. But he trusted me a lot back then. So when he wanted to write 2 episodes of season 3 himself, he said, you give me like a dhacha on the page, just like put something down, I'll turn it into episodes. And I said, okay, fine. So I wrote 2 episodes. And okay, breaking NDA again. I was so nervous. I would send those episodes to a friend of mine, to Akshay, for feedback. And he would give me feedback. And then we would use this software called Writer Duet, jahan notes aate the, like, and all those changes and stuff would come in red. And whenever I would get that, I would call Akshay and be like, I've got feedback. I am very scared ki kya hoga. So I'm like, just stay with me on the phone. We'll go through it together. And yeah, but I turned out in 2 episodes, and Karan read it and he liked it, and he was like, okay, this is good, and I'm giving you writer credit on this.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, what a guy.
That's really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That didn't happen with me, but that's a story for another day. But this is really good. I mean, people who support and people who actually like, very few in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is very heartening. And then that's how you got.
Yeah, that's
to
how I
be on.
essentially became a writer. We shared writing credit on episodes 9 and 10, and we worked together for many years. We worked on Rana Naidu, seasons 1 and 2, on Grahan, most of my work, and a bunch of shows which never see the light of day, which is most shows.
Which is our life. Yes.
Yeah,
The life that we don't get to talk about. But are you dreaming about the farm at this point, or any other place with Woof that you'd want to travel to or volunteer at? Or are you like now settled in screenplay writing and
I was settled. There was a brief like honeymoon period where I
Okay.
was very happy.
brief honeymoon period is in 7 years, that's it. 7 years is not brief. You really like
Yeah, no,
hung around.
during this time there was a brief honeymoon period
Okay,
within
okay.
these
And then you
7
started
years.
getting-
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I was really settled. I was like damn happy. I'm like acha kaam ho raha and all of that. But then that itch started to come in. I'm like, this can't be all that there is to life, you know? Like what, I'm just supposed to keep like writing and eventually make it to creator, showrunner for the rest of my life, and that's it? Like what, I'm supposed to live in Bombay and what, then endeavor to make it to Hollywood, and like that's not my path. Like I love that I have shows on all these platforms and stuff, and it's great, like especially when I'm traveling and I have to break the ice and I want to seem like the cool person in
Yeah.
the group. And I have lots of trauma from school where I was never the cool kid, so now being able to do that is like,
I think most of those people are now writers. I'm also not a cool kid. I'm a
Right?
studious nerd.
exactly, yeah.
And now people are like, so who did you meet? And I'm just like,
Yeah,
and that's a nice
yeah.
icebreaker. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So, Ananya, as I see it, now after a couple of years of being on that farm and you chanced upon screenwriting and you did so well at it and you were a natural, probably is what I would say, because no formal training, nothing. And you're doing well, you're writing, these incredible shows, and which turned out to be super hit also for the platforms. And so what happens then? Are you then missing being somewhere else in the world, like you were saying, or are you thinking that this might be it, or should I do this again to myself? Should I just like leave everything? Because then you're also a CA and you're also you had a
Yeah.
successful corporate job,
Yeah.
or even your articleship, whatever you call it technically. So what was it then that I don't want to settle? Was that a fear, or did you see settle as something that meant staying in the same city that you grew up in? And
Yeah, like I'm like, this is a very big world, and I don't want to put myself in this box ki this is it for the rest of your life. And also, if you want to look at it from a screenwriting perspective, all writing comes from lived experience, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm living in Bombay, if I'm living one life, फिर एक ही चीज लिखती रहूंगी, like one truth wrapped up in this different like packaging of different shows.
yeah,
So I was like, nahin yaar, the reason I became a writer amongst many others is that I like living different lives. Today you're an engineer, tomorrow you're like killing some people in the boondocks of Haryana, like, some other day you're walking like a ramp. I'm like, I want to live different lives. And for some people, secondhand experience is enough, right?
Yeah.
Like reading, watching, traveling. I mean, reading and watching, that is also traveling. But I was like, I want to get out. There is more. And So then, while I was still writing, I did my first digital nomad thing. I moved to Barcelona for a few months, and I liked it.
And this was also with some organization?
No, I just moved.
You just moved?
Yeah, COVID was petering out. This was mid 2021. And I thought कि बहुत cabin fever लग रहा है, निकलना है. And all my writing, like Karan was like, you work remotely, it's fine. He was very supportive. So Berlin or Barcelona, I was considering those two because Germany and Spain had both opened their borders. And then because I was going September, October, I was like, Berlin can get cold and gloomy and wo mujhe saha nahi chahta. So like Barcelona it is.
And was it also ringing in your, that one story of yours that you are young,
yeah.
and the fact that I am young and this is the time to do
Yeah.
it? Was it also like a factor in you moving again?
For sure. It was a factor in the sense that I wasn't scared anymore. Like, I wasn't scared because obviously I was taking my work with me. So I'm like, I'm still very much connected to my life back home, but I get to do this. So I get to live like the best of both worlds. And that what will happen, when I thought of what will happen, I'm like, acha, I'm so young. Like, it's fine. So, very, very thankful. I'm holding on to that. Throughout all of this, I'm holding on to that.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Barcelona, visa ran out, had to come back. And after that, I was like, thoda aur long term ke liye I want to go. But I still wasn't willing to like leave film back then. So I found a teaching English in Madrid program and I got through. So I moved to Madrid for 9 months. I was teaching English and there were people, all those American gap year students and all of them, so significantly younger than me. So again, there also, but I'm so young. Like I can be friends with all of these people. It was easy in that sense. And there also I was working on, I think, Rana, and there were 4 other shows I was working on. So सुबह में उठती थी, I would go to school, teach, come back, write, and I was like finding a new apartment and learning a new language and making new friends and all of that. And 9-month Shenzhen visa on an Indian passport. I traveled every single weekend. Every single weekend.
Nice.
And by the time May came around, I moved in September. I was burnt out. I was completely burnt out. I was like, I quit a lot of the shows I was doing. I was like, ye nahi hoga mujhse. And I wasn't even getting paid because you know how we get paid in this industry. Thankfully, I was getting a salary from Madrid, which covered all my living expenses and stuff like that.
Right.
So I came back to India. वापस visa नहीं मिला रहने के लिए ज़्यादा. I applied for so many jobs in Spain. Number of rejections I'd gotten. Oh my God. And then I was still in the industry. I worked on Ishq in the Air as a DA. I thought कि वो करेंगे तो at least it'll be a shift from screenwriting. Maybe that's the break I need. I didn't realize that being on your feet for 18 hours a day is not a break.
Yeah, that's a bad idea for a break.
Break, yeah. And then I thought I was done. I want to move again. And I thought, ठीक है, I'll write my own film when I move and sell it once I'm back or sell it remotely. Agents will help me, all of that. Like, where to go now? I was like, I want to improve my Spanish. I've lived in Barcelona and Mexico City and Madrid. But Mexico City, why not? So again, I did the same thing. I was looking at co-livings online. I found one, filled in a form, got on a call with the girl. She's like, you seem cool, come live with me. I was like, okay, cool, I'll come live with you. Got on a plane, left, moved there. And that's when I realized that I am so burnt out, I can't even write. Like, I had a great idea. I want to go back to it. I want to enjoy writing that film and living in that world. But I could not back then. And I'm like, yeah, what is wrong with me? You know, I taught English in Madrid. I didn't enjoy it. I hate kids. They are cesspools of disease. Okay, you know, number of times I felt sick there.
That is actually true.
They'll do
Schools
this,
especially.
then they'll come do this.
Oh, even Spanish kids, huh?
Oh, they
But that was like an Indian kid problem.
kid problem. Even a Norwegian kid will do that too. So,
Okay.
And then I wasn't feeling like good. I was like I didn't belong in my CA world. I wasn't wanted in Madrid or Barcelona, like mostly because of visa restrictions, but still. Film mein, I don't feel like I belong there. Everyone, it's like a cult, right? So sabko lagta hai, they've bought into, they're drinking the Kool-Aid. Ki this is it, it doesn't get better than this. Even though you're working long hours, you're never paid, people are shouting shit at you all the time. Baat karne ka koi taur tarika nahi hota, it's pure exploitation. Oh, I'm never getting to work again. Lucky I don't need.
Or there might be people out there who are like, no, come, we'll prove you wrong. You've had the worst experiences, so come work with us. That's a dream, right? That come work with us, we'll show you the other side of it. If
And
there
then
is.
that turns into emotional blackmail after that.
No, yeah, I'm sure there are like good people to work with. I'm still looking for them. No, I'm kidding. I've worked with good. No, I'm kidding. I'm really kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I actually don't know what the truth is right now. Yeah, it is tough. I feel you.
Yeah.
And I think not being around people who, who spark that joy in you, just like any other thing. Everything in our life is something that we all learn from Marie Kondo. Is that, if it doesn't spark joy, just throw it out of your life, right? So if for people also, I mean, I think that holds very true, that if you're meeting somebody every single day, and you're not really feeling the vibe, like forget your own inner circle or like friends or whatever, but even colleagues, especially in our line of work, that we spend so much time with each other, that you have to be really thick-skinned to not let any of that affect you, right? And then you also have to enjoy meeting whoever you're meeting, because like you said, it's like 12 hours, 15 hours, whatever. Sometimes you're in the writer's room and you're eating 2 or 3 meals together, because you're taking that break, and it's a lot of time, and you may not always like the people, but I think if it is a safe space and if it is at least conducive to your writing, then it's still a win.
Yeah.
You can't get along with everybody, I feel. I've stopped trying to do that, but I feel like if you can maintain the status quo and if it helps the writing or the work, I think that's pretty much okay, I guess, because we get to make our own choices in our personal life, right? But yeah, so it's not working out for you and you're not feeling like. So did you feel like screenwriting is not it for you? And it came pretty naturally to you. So did you never feel that, okay, this is my world, or was it because of the world, or was it because of the skill and the craft that you...
Oh, no, the skill and the craft. See, some things come naturally to people, for sure. Like, for me, writing does come more naturally, because right now I've been dabbling with designing graphics, and that does not come naturally to me. Let me tell you that. So, yeah.
So there is something that you're not...
Oh, plenty. But here's the thing. I'm not scared to try. That's why screenwriting could just never be my thing, because I don't believe in having a thing. I'm like, my thing is that I try different things. Like, I've taken sailing lessons, I dive, I'm a terrible surfer, like I go roller skating with like little kids and I fall on my butt all the time. And like, this is why I'm alive. So yes, dropping screenwriting was a scary proposition. And more than that, I was just like, how am I going to tell people? That again, she's leaving something. And that... Serial lever, yeah, for sure. Lever of countries, careers, everything.
But serial finder also, no? Then in that sense, because there's always the other side of the coin. Yeah. That if you're leaving something, you're going to essentially find something else, and that's going to fill your time and your, space in your heart and soul and all of it. So is that how, Ananya, the belonging way kind of started taking shape in your mind? Because you were also trying to find out where you belong.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And here's what I realized. I can belong everywhere because I know what I want. And I'm not scared to go after that. So I belonged in Madrid. I belonged in Mexico City eventually. It was a fight in the start. So I'm like, what we are trying to do is find these boxes for ourselves where, acha, if I become a screenwriter, I'll find my people, I'll find my thing, I'll belong. If I become a CA, if I do falana, dhikana, but you have to define what that is for you. Because we don't live in a world, we live in our world. And that is what I realized. I knew how to create for myself. And the belonging way came from a very selfish place. It came from a place that I want to continue living this life of freedom, where I'm charging people before I render services. अकाउंट में क्रेडिट आएगा, तुम लोग को सर्विस मिलेगा.
Hmm.
I want to be able to live wherever in the world I want. I want to be able to structure it so that I can take breaks from my work. And I want to have full creative control. Because creating a business, as I've realized, is very creative. Like,
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, what am I good at? I'm like, oh, I'm good at creating belonging. And it took months of like brainstorming and breaking down my own process and how I did this. And I'm like, I can't wait to do this for other people because everyone feels like this. Everyone feels like they don't belong. And I was talking to someone the other day who's a Marine for 10 years in the US armed forces. And she's like, you can really help people who are in the military because they're traveling all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Refugees and immigrants. Of course, students and people who move for jobs, or people who, like, I'm born and raised in Mumbai. I don't feel like I'm at home in Mumbai anymore. And it's not because of the people. I have great people here. It's because of the place. There is no walkability, there's no public infrastructure, any of that. That's why I've had to move away. And that is also an essential part of belonging. But if a person is bound here, how can they align their values to create the life that they want here? So how do you do this for people? And that's how the belonging way came, from like a very, very personal space of just like, I don't not feeling it, but I want to feel it.
But that's wonderful. And also something that you were saying, it struck a chord with me in the sense that we're not even probably the same people that we were yesterday, right? In any, like in some ways, we change. Every day we're learning something new, we're doing something new. And when we're writing, we obviously want the character to have an arc and we want them to like complete a journey or whatever. And most of the times this feels like a very, rounded and there's closure and all of it. And I was just thinking that for a character, it's probably a film that the journey concludes. Maybe several films it concludes now because you have like part 1, part 2, whatever. And then series and all, you have like, okay, 6 episodes mein khatam karna hai ya 8 mein karna hai. पर लाइफ में खुद की कैरेक्टर आर्क कंप्लीट करने में पता नहीं कितने जन्म लग जाते हैं. आई मीन मे बी इट्स लाइक 7 births, like they say. And why do we want to restrict ourselves in the sense that why do I have to figure it out right now? Right? You're also ever changing, and hence the labels that we try to call ourselves that, oh, Akhtar is a screenwriter or Akhtar is a writer or whatever. I've always had a problem like introducing myself because I'm like, oh, but now I'm doing this. So should I say this? Because like you, I've also done like a bunch of things and I still don't know if any of that is going to stick or is it just like a passage or a rite of passage or whatever it is. But I'm having fun and that's the point, right? So right now I'm at this point in my journey where I call myself whatever, a writer, probably. And for you to do this for other people is, I think, really cool because early on you said that you wanted to do educational, you wanted to work in that space. And this is similar, but it's, I think it's a cooler thing to do. But you're essentially trying to like just, root them in...
Yes, in themselves.
In themselves and in wherever they are. And I had this conversation with a friend a couple of years back when I went back home and I was living in... at home in Jodhpur for a while during COVID. And I was like, I don't know where I belong. I've just been to so many places and I've grown up in so many places and cities and I've gone to so many schools and I'm, like that rant. And he was like, what if belonging is not about where you're from, but where you build your roots and you can build your roots wherever you are. And that just really shifted my perspective because I was like, if I'm there, okay, how can I make this space more like home for me? And what does home even mean? And I constantly kept thinking about the fact that what does home even mean to me? And why does it have to be a place or a house or, any of that? It can actually just be if I'm content in myself and where I am in my life's journey. I think that is where home is.
Exactly.
And that just completely shifted. And I guess that's probably what, you're also going through. Of course, I'm in Mumbai and I'm here and this is home right now. But then essentially just like you, I can feel at home anywhere. Right? You don't have to really like say, okay, these 4 walls are what home is. And then when people are like, okay, so where are you from? And I'm just like, I don't know. Somewhere on this planet, probably everywhere on this planet, places that I've not even been to. So I totally get what your journey probably is about, and it's fascinating to hear what you're trying to build with the belonging way. And I'm so excited to see the kind of people, because the kind of people you have mentioned also is like from all walks of life and various challenges, and they've lived lives in very extreme conditions also, perhaps the kind of refugees and immigrants and even the Marines. Are you excited now that you're on this path, and is it like kind of taking some shape, all of that what you've been through?
Yeah, I think my experiences, I mean, they'll be the biggest guiding like tool, right? Without making it all about myself.
Yeah.
Where how can I use that to guide people and be like, I see you,
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about it. I'm obviously nervous because again, this is like, I feel like I started off so conventional and I've been going like progressively to the other side, and I'm like, Ananya, tujhe paise banane achhe hi nahi lagte, na?
Well, that's most of us who are trying to live, the way we want to, like day to day, I guess, right? And that's,
Exactly.
it's a little bit of a struggle to kind of put
Yeah.
that sustainably into a career or into
Yeah.
like money making.
For sure.
But I hope you figure it out.
I will. I'm approaching it with the energy of, again, I am so young. I can play.
I am so young too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And with this, we come to the end of this episode of One Story with Akta Pawar. And I think this episode, Ananya, you've really, you're phenomenal, right? She's worked in the toughest industries or toughest things to crack, basically. CA, I don't know how many people get through it, 3%, I think,
Something like that.
of the people who apply. Screenwriting, people try for years and they can't make it, and she's done some incredible work there. And now she's stepping into the most or the toughest industry, which is entrepreneurship. And I'm so excited, Ananya, to see what you make out of the belonging way and what you do with, astrology, travel, and storytelling. I mean, it's an incredible combination. I hope you had fun today sharing your one story. All of us, I think, for me, it's like I'm going to tell myself this every single day, that I am young and I can do whatever I want to do. Whatever it is you're planning to start, or you've been putting off, or you're procrastinating, go for it, do it, because
You're young.
you're young. Bye. यार आई एम इम्प्रेस्ड अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुँच गए और मुझे अभी सुन पा रहे हैं, इसका मतलब आपने पूरा एपिसोड अच्छे से सुना और देखा है. एंड अगर ये कर ही लिया है, अगर अच्छा लगा हो तो प्लीज़ लाइक बटन पे एक क्लिक कर दीजिए. एंड अगर ये एपिसोड सुनते हुए आपको किसी की भी याद आई हो, या किसी दोस्त की आपको ऐसा लगा हो कि ये वन स्टोरी उसके लिए बहुत ही ज़्यादा रिलेटेबल होगी, तो प्लीज़ उसके साथ शेयर करो. और अगर ये दोनों काम कर रहे हो तो यार फिर तो सब्सक्राइब कर ही लो. वन स्टोरी विद अक्ता पवार.